Hello, people. Nobody on right now. I know this always bothers people, or some people, that I'm not speaking right away. But then they don't have to sit there and watch when I have to repeat over and over again the same things when I'm just waiting for people to get on here. Looking through people trying to join our group right now for approval. Hello, Mike Wrench. Your name totally, when I saw it, going, okay, is that a real person or is that going to be somebody's fake account calling themselves Mike Wrench? And you could be. I don't know. Hello, Caroline. So today, I don't know, my TV, you can still kind of hear it. There. Now I turn the volume down. Scheduled to go live today just because people have asked about going live. And then, of course, we got the state's response. And I know people are freaking out about that, but it means nothing. So don't get yourself all panicked about, oh my God, look what they're doing. I can't believe they're doing. You expect the state to try and block whatever Kathleen wants to do. This is not the court ruling that there can't be scientific testing on the bones. This is just Griesbach again, or Schimmel. So don't get all in a tizzy over it. It really means nothing. So I do think it's pretty funny though. And why do you want to block this testing? And make it more difficult for the testing. They're claiming that if this stay was granted, that it's just prolonging. And so they think Stephen should have to drop this, the current path he's on, to start this new one instead of adding this new one in where they're at. So it's just all dumb and nothing to be surprised by. Scanning through your hellos, everybody. Mike Wrench saying he's real. So, but I contacted the clerk's office when we saw that the state had filed, and I had to pay them money and I've talked with the clerk's office previously about this, on how I would be able to get this stuff right away. And it's really hard to know how much money I would have to pay until a filing is actually in, because you're charged 40 cents per page. And so I was just all in a tizzy today on, oh my God, there it is, and we want to get it. So I paid them $25, which then, of course, everything puts a fee on top of it. So it's like $28 and change. And now it turns out that the actual filing itself only costs like $4, since it's 9 pages. And they're not sure if they're going to be able to refund my money, which is whatever, live and learn. You know, I was just real quick to, oh my God, we want to get this. And so, so then the clerk's office emailed me the PDF of it. And I'm not a tech person, so I had no idea how to make it so I could share that PDF. So I took the screenshots of what I was looking at and posted them. And then apparently people complained about that and said that's a bad copy and they wanted actual PDF. So then I sent the stuff to Patty, one of our moderators here, who knows way more about tech stuff than I do, and so she posted the PDF version of it. So, oh, and something I want to clear up on that, because I see, because obviously people take what we say here and share at other places. So I see somebody who keeps reporting that I claimed that the clerk's office told me that it was denied. Never said that. I do see a post that I made. It was like a poor choice of wording on my part, that I can see how somebody would interpret it like that's what it said. But I've never said the clerk's office told me that it had been denied. I said there's a rumor it had been denied, so I contacted the clerk's office. So rumor's the key word there. Never said anything was fact. So, but people just want to run with that and say, I said this and it's wrong. So, and the rumor started because of posts that Kathleen made, or tweets. And so people were jumping to the conclusion due to her tweets, it meant that she was denied. So, as this is a gossip page, we're going to discuss those kinds of rumors here. We put it out as this is not fact, rumor, we don't know, here's what's being said. So, but as soon as we know what is fact and what is fiction, we'll let you know. So just want to clear that up. Let me scroll down and see if you have any questions. Christy is driving and listening. Hello, everybody who's saying hello from all around the world. Connie, so tell people to pay for their own copy. Kimberly says, can you explain to people the difference between the state and the courts? People seem to be confused. So the state are the prosecutors. So the state are the people that want to keep Stephen and Brendan in prison. And then the defense, obviously, is Kathleen Zellner, who wants Stephen freed. And then the court is who's going to decide which way the case is going to go. So Kathleen wants the testing. The state doesn't. So now the state has said, no, we shouldn't, blah, 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 in that all that legal gobbledygook bullshit. So that's what the state is saying to the court of, shouldn't do this. I don't think, blah, blah, blah. And so now we're waiting for the court to say, is it granted or is it denied? So, and Kimberly, I get the confusion because I'm right there with y'all. Again, I say all the same things, all the same, over and over again. I don't know dick about the legal system. Not going to pretend to. I'm confused about all of this, just like y'all. So I know people will be asking me, how long until the court now responds? I don't know. I'm always told on everything, it could be 30 days, it could be 60 days, it could be 90 days. So I never know for sure which one is which. Just know we're always watching everywhere we can. And as soon as it comes out, we bring it to you right away. And we actually, on this one, we were first. Woohoo! We were the first place to get this. And does it mean anything? No. I'm just goofing off. So, yeah. So this thing today, don't get all upset about it. It's no big deal. And also, if the court denies it, don't get upset about it, because just look at what's been done to Stephen the whole time. Everything is constantly ruled against him. And Kathleen takes it all in stride, and she's just going to continue going to show that Stephen is innocent. She'll keep plugging along. And scrolling through, seeing, Connie says folks love to take things out of context. Well, Connie, but I will say, because I went back and looked at what I had posted, and I do understand how it could be misconstrued on what I said. So I take fault on that as well. But I think if you read completely the things I say or follow this page, you'll see I said the whole time, this is a rumor. Thank you, Heidi. Alex, can you tell a joke? I'm so sleepy. Janice says, can you tell me what moot means, please? Moot means doesn't matter. What song is it that has the point is probably moot? Jesse's Girl, Rick Springfield. Now it's in my head. Maybe it's in your head too. So yeah, moot just means doesn't matter. Ashley, is it the same judge? Yes. Kathleen had put in for a change of judge and that was denied. So it'll be the same one, which is again where I'll say I don't understand our legal system. I never get why you have to go back to the same judge that's ruled against you. So, you know, people don't want to admit they're wrong. So I don't know. So Connie, so if Judge Flowers doesn't agree for this bone testing, then we'll just get that filing that Kathleen was supposed to file on December 20th. That's what the, which I also learned from the clerk that somebody who claims to be a lawyer didn't know what it meant, but if you're a lawyer, you would have known because I found out from the clerk's office. So when the court rules on whether or not this testing can be done or not, then Kathleen has to do her filing in 3 days, which I will assume will be 3 business days. So, so we'll just get that filing then that we were all waiting for because, you know, and I know there's a lot of people that say that filing's not a big deal. So we'll just have to, you know, wait and see. But that's what would be next, Connie, is that filing we were expecting the whole time and then didn't get. So blah, blah, blah. Sorry, Victoria says, but why would they not want to know for certain if the bones belong to Teresa? Simply to keep them in prison or just to make things harder? Well, it's hard to know for sure what everybody's angles are. You know, I've said that I could see them denying this because they'll say it just gives further hardship to the Hallback family to have to make them relive this. But but not being them, you don't know for sure, but my opinion is because, you know, they're trying to cover it up because Kratz prosecuted Stephen on, oh, those are animal bones or whatever. We don't care about those. Nobody look at those bones. So it does become a big deal if those bones that are across the street at the gravel pit are Teresa's, because it makes no sense for them to be over there. It makes no sense for Stephen to go on a totally different property to commit this crime and then load up the parts to bring them back to his house and sprinkle them like pixie dust around his house and Barb's house and then out in the quarry behind the salvage yard. So, and then it also becomes a big deal on whatever the legality is on those bones. On what is said is that the gravel pit bones were given to the Hallback family, like they're Teresa's remains. But why are they given to the Hallback family as Teresa's remains if in court it was said they were animal? Plus, the law allegedly, not an expert, says that as long as somebody is doing time, the evidence has to be kept. So you can't give that to the family. So it's just the state's case is Jenga, you know, and you pull out one piece and everything becomes a little bit more flip-floppy. You know, that's my technical term, flip-floppy. So they can't have a single piece of this, whatever you want to call it, tower, to come out because it's going to fall. Mike says, of course the state would deny it. Why wouldn't they? They are probably backing Colburn's case as well. Oh my God, Colburn's case. I forgot about that already, Mike. How ridiculous is that he would open himself up to that? What a dumb. Deborah says, this isn't the state saying no to the testing. That hasn't been litigated yet. Schimmel just doesn't want the appeal being held while litigating the DNA testing issue. Correct, Deborah. Thank you for Deborah's worded it way better than I can. I don't understand it. So yeah, that's what Schimmel is going on. But so that's what I'm saying is, we don't want to take up any extra time. But either way, you're taking up time. It's stupid because this is new evidence. So it should be considered. So whether you stack it at the beginning or middle or end, it's still taking up the time. Heidi loves him, Rick Springfield. Right, Kimberly, the world is watching, literally, because, all you have to do is look at, Stephen Avery Project or the lives in here, like you see Lise here, Love from Denmark. There are literally people from all over the world that are interested in this little case from Wisconsin. You would think they would care. Kimberly says she needs to file within 3 days of the judge's decision, regardless of the outcome, correct? That's what I believe to be the case. Lily says, what about the person accused who didn't do it? What are you referring to there, Lily? Sorry. Deborah says, Schimmel is not saying no to the testing in this response. He is only stating that he thinks legally a stay should not be granted because they want to litigate a new issue, i.e. the Bones DNA testing issue. Right. Deborah, I want to thank you so much because you're way smarter than me and are able to word this in a way that people will understand that I can't. So technically he's not trying to stop the testing, even though that's what he's doing is stopping the testing. And there's stuff like you can only bring up things that have already been brought before. This new, it's all very confusing. Joy says, if they are animal bones, why would the Hall box want them? True. So, yeah, don't know what happened there. Deborah, I like reading Deborah's posts because I learn something every time. He wants KZ to withdraw the appeal if she wants to litigate the DNA issue and not just shelf it, so to speak. Thank you. Kimberly says the state has every reason in the world to fight block this. Sorry, Moriyama, I'm live right now and they're working. Oh God, an early Christmas present. Yeah, with Colburn's filing. Dumb. Danielle, can't wait for Schimmel to be out. Yeah, that should be, what is that? Is that January 3rd? Rhonda, KZ has already acknowledged that there will be obstacles every step of the way. So much is just a waiting game. Yeah, and I think Kathleen gets off on it too. She likes the challenge. In Zellner we trust, Julie. And Paul from Scotland. Hello, Paul. Alex says, does anyone know what Schimmel means in German? Oh, I don't know. I have a friend from Germany. If there's not somebody here already, I can ask her if she knows. Connie says, if whoever suggested Murder Mountain is in here, you need to know I have wasted a whole day. Well, let me tell you, I've been watching it all day, the Murder Mountain, and I'm not digging it. I'm not interested really at all. The premise, okay, yeah, I'm not into it. I may end up never even going back and finishing it. because I stopped it to do this live, and I don't know, chances are I won't go back. Lisa, so the state is concerned that the judge is brainless regarding the law and provided the judge with all of the legal reasons that Avery should be denied. This was merely a public opinion submitted by the state to help guide, influence the judge's decision. The state should keep their big fat nose out of it. They already had the case and mucked it up. Good one. Julie, the Hallbacks were lied to. Yeah. You know, I defend the Hallbacks a lot because I just go, they had no reason to not believe what law enforcement told them. That was me prior to making a murderer, that I had no reason to doubt a police officer. And if I was ever questioned for something, I would go, here, I'm just going to explain this real quick because, you know, here's what happened, and would never think for a second that things are going to be twisted on me. So making a murderer really opened my eyes to that, on just, you know, what can happen to you. So I don't fault the Hallback family for, at the time that this was all going on, before making a murderer, because, you know, Stephen's whole family said, besides his parents, everybody else in his family said he was guilty. Nobody else in his family gave a shit about Stephen until Making a Murderer came out. Now they wanted to be famous. Then all of a sudden that family came creeping back around Stephen. So they didn't have Making a Murderer showing all these different things on why this case is sketchy. So I don't fault the Hallback family for, back in real time, just believing whatever law enforcement said. I do now. I go, because if it were my son, I would want to know the truth, no matter how horrible it was. So, and I would have to watch Making a Murderer because I want to see what's being said about the death of my child. And this raises so many questions I would want to know. So, but I'm still not going to attack the family, because I'm not somebody who, I don't believe Teresa is still alive. And I don't believe her family had any part of her death. So you always have to keep in mind that this family lost a loved one. No matter what happened to Teresa, because that's another thing I say, there's no proof of what's happened to her. All we know is she's never been seen again. So the family lost their loved one. And people grieve differently. I know people get upset that they're not all crying and everything, but you don't know until you're in the situation how you're gonna react. So that family lost a loved one. So I'm really not going to attack them. Ashley said the state is bound to deny it. They believe that the motion to stay the brief is a waste of time and money, and so they want Stephen to either drop his motion or continue to appeal. Yes. Happy New Year, Efton. Alex says, I know, I also speak German better than English. I'm really impressed with the people that can speak multiple languages. And I don't like when they speak or type poor English and people want to make fun of them, because you're doing more than one language. I can barely do English. So I think that's a thing to be respected, not attacked. Heidi, good, I won't watch it. Yeah, I'm not digging the Murder Mountain. Danielle says, think they are afraid that they are Carmen's bones. Yeah, that would be interesting. Schimmel means mold in German. Kimberly says, the Hallbacks listened to the state because the state is the only one who appeared to be helping and trying to solve the case. Melinda says, it's not a bad documentary, but it is lacking, like having a sandwich with no meat, so to speak. Yeah, I mean, so Murder Mountain, for those that don't know, is, so there's this area in California that's all about growing pot. And so, big surprise, a lot of criminal activity go on there, and a lot of people disappear and aren't found again, or bodies are found later, and law enforcement really isn't doing anything there. You know, it's its own little crazy, corrupt world. So on it, you know, sounds good, but I'm bored watching it. Danielle, you think they would step up and ask for answers on whose bones they actually have? Yeah. William says, is that an omission by the state that the bones were Teresa's by them giving them to the family? Right? Yeah, I don't know how that works, William. It's really weird that if those bones were never identified as Teresa's, why they would go to the Hallback family. Julie says, now I need an entire deep dish pizza. Don't put that in my head. Joyce, I don't fault them at all either. Teresa is the victim and the family has to deal with that. I just meant, why would law enforcement think they'd want them? Yeah, well, I don't know. I don't know if it was the family wanted them, or that law enforcement just said, here, you know, I don't know if there's anything out there to show how that went down. So yeah, Joyce, I don't know. Tracy said, with everything coming out, they should want the truth. You know, they have watched. Yeah, you would think they had to have. Danielle says, off subject, but did anyone watch confession tapes? If so, what's your take on Karen, who they say set the fire to get fire in own home with her 14-year-old daughter inside? I don't know if I watched confession tapes before. Danielle, I would want to know the truth if it was my daughter or sister. Yeah, I absolutely would. Caroline says, but since the MAM has aired, don't you think they have seen the evidence and should be banging doors for answers? Absolutely. Lily, I don't attack them, but they know something and are keeping quiet for some reason. Right. Well, I believe that Michael Hallbach was part of planting the RAV4 back at the salvage yard. So I think that's what's going on there. Rhonda says, excellent points about the Hallbach family. I agree with you. Well, thank you, Rhonda. Melinda says, absolutely. I would want to know what exactly happened, how, when. It would make you so angry you would want the truth. Danielle said, yeah, but they have to be curious. Was Zellner involved? Right? Because, you know, she makes a big deal out of, she only takes cases that she believes they're innocent. So I would think twice on that one. Ashley says, because the case has gone so public by social media, do you think this would have a negative effect on the case? No. Wait. I'm confusing social media with Making a Murderer, because Making a Murderer was absolutely a big deal. Social media, the way that family behaves, I think could hurt. Well, it's not going to hurt the case. It just hurts public opinion of the family. Caroline says, I just finished watching it and actually enjoyed it. Very different rules of law in that state compared to Wisconsin. And then Danielle is saying confession tapes is good and I should watch. Joyce says, I would be very upset if I thought I had my daughter's remains and someone says it's animal bones. I'd be hopping mad. I agree. Deborah says, if judge grants the stay on the appeal, it gets put on a shelf and the DNA testing can be litigated. If the court denies the stay, she must either go forward with that in the 3 days without the new DNA testing and go forward with it the way it is. thereby possibly eliminating the very powerful DNA results he knows full well is going to be in Stephen's favor. He is playing games and trying to force KZ to lose standing with the appeal or go forward without the new DNA evidence. So shady. Angie says, do we have any guesses about how Zellner will move forward? I don't, because I just sit back and see what she puts out there. You know, I got so much on my plate that I don't want to sit there and think about that too. I'm trying to, second guess what she's going to do. So I just wait until we have it. But I'm dying to know. Cindy says, the way Barb behaves on social media can most definitely hurt the case, in my opinion. Well, Barb, I mean, I haven't been sent anything recently on Barb. I don't know if I know Barb changed her name on Facebook again. She seems to be staying relatively quiet unless she's just not doing anything controversial, and that's why I don't have anything from it. But Barb really should just shut her mouth. Just wait and see what Kathleen has. Stop spouting about Scott and Bobby. Stephen's been telling her forever to get off social media. Or he says, get off the internet, is how he words it. Alex, it's almost midnight there and hungry, and where can he get a pizza? Kimberly says, KZ has been suspiciously quiet on Twitter since her filing. Well, maybe she just took another case. So she took a case in Texas. So she might be doing that, and plus the holiday. Lisa says, if the state is so confident with Avery's conviction, there shouldn't be a negotiation regarding the evidences can be re-examined. The state should stand by their confidence and convictions regarding the jury trial's decision and hand over all of the evidence, everything. That is called cooperation. There is no legitimate reason to not cooperate. Here, I second that. Deborah says, I live in Manitowoc County and there is a lot shady here. Yeah. I mean, when you think of what happened with Carmen Bootwell and Ricky Hochstetler, and those are just the three we know of. Who knows what y'all have up there and what's hidden. Heidi says, I just want to say, today I have seen people dissing Wisconsin and some even stating they would never buy anything from Wisconsin. I just want people to know there are people here from Wisconsin, and those of us should not be linked to the corruption of one county. There are many hardworking people here, and we are not like MCSD. So please be understanding, those comments do sometimes hurt. Well, let me tell you, Heidi, I personally love Wisconsin. I spent my summers in Coudray on the Chippewa flowage and going into town into Hayward. And I know Hayward is a big tourist trap place, but it's still, it's beautiful, and I loved Hayward. I know Hayward is way more built up now, but it's, going in the Muskie and going to Wilderness Walk. And then there was the drive-in movie theater that was connected to go-karts and mini golf. And but then my boyfriend's father lives in Wisconsin. I can't remember where. And deer are like squirrels there. And so it was really cool when we went there, and the deer all over, and it's really pretty. And I love Wisconsin, and I love your cheese. Cheese curds are like the best. So, and while the Manitowoc County Sheriff's Department are pieces of shit, yeah, you're right. It doesn't mean all of Wisconsin's like that, and it doesn't mean any other place isn't. I'm here in the Chicago suburb, and I'm an activist and in politics here. And there are pieces of shit and everything. Everywhere I turn is another shitty politician on whatever side of the aisle. So there's so much bullshit, and power corrupts. People looking for power and a title and just what they'll do to get it. So it's not just a Wisconsin thing. Sunny, yes, you are right. Barb should stay quiet. If KZ gets Steven out, it will help Brendan too. Duh, Barb. Yeah. Steven says, Ken Kratz totally destroys Steven's reputation before his case. Making a murderer did the opposite, so now it's fair game. Hope this gets resolved before Steven dies of old age. Right? Yeah, that freaking press conference that Kratz did, talking about his sexual perverted fantasies. Uh-oh. Now, Christy is sending me that court denied the motion. And now somebody else just said, hold on. All right, so that the motion to stay this appeal and remand to the circuit court is denied. So there you go. The court, it's 4:36, and now it's denied. Hold on. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. Let me try to email the clerk. Whoops. Get over here. Sorry, now I can't get my cursor to go over here to this screen. Open up my email. But they may be closed now. The courthouses close at 4:30. I got to open my Stephen Avery email. Please. Go into the clerk's email. Reply. Come on, why aren't you letting me? There it is. I just heard the court now denied it. Can I get that ruling, please? Thank you. Send. All right, now scroll down. Moderators, if you haven't already gotten that stuff posted, the screenshots, can you post that? Oh, Kimberly sent it to me too. Thank you. I'm typing it to you, even though you're probably living right here. Let me scroll down. Yeah, okay. Here's where everybody's going. State denied, state denied. What did Greg Smith say that's uncalled for? What am I missing? Wisconsin, but rather see somebody rot in prison than admit fault. They're not even willing to step up to the plate and let her test the bones. I believe if they feel Stephen Avery is guilty, then let her test the bones. What do they have to lose? Fuck Wisconsin. Okay, so